Welcome to Marathon Champions, the podcast where running legends Benji Durden, Bill Rogers, and Ron Tabb share their timeless wisdom on marathon training and inspire listeners with their wealth of experience. These champions continue to impact the running world today.
When I worked at Concordia University, and this is, you'll understand the magnitude of this, I was hired for 4 part-time jobs: head cross-country men's, head cross-country women's, program fair coordinator, and career fair coordinator. So I had 4 part-time jobs, no benefits. And initially I got hired, it was going to be $24,000 and I was going to get my degree at Concordia University, so they would fund that. And I said yes. And so as I'm starting to work, then I'm starting to recruit and I care about these athletes. I get a phone call from Mike Maynard. I think it's Maynard. I forget last name now, but he wanted me to join him at Reno and coach there. And I didn't want to abandon the athletes because, you know, I cared about the fact that here I'm inviting these athletes and I don't want to
something
leave.
started.
And so I stayed at Concordia, and then they didn't let me get my degree there. So it was just $24,000 for 5 years that I worked there. It was crazy. But I was working these long hours. And so I told them that I wanted to get the track and field program back up. It had been closed down 10 years earlier. And the athletic director told me that I could have $2,000 for the 45 people who expressed interest in joining the track team. I could get uniforms, equipment, and travel. If I could do that and accomplish it within 6 months, the probation period, then we would keep the track program. And in 3 months, we had them all outfitted with equipment, uniforms, and travel. And the track program is still in existence today. The volume of work that took was 6.5 days a week of work. And $24,000. And the athletes never knew that was what I was paid. They had no idea. But I was in an unusual circumstance that if you have a facility on campus, you can use the sports information director, the administrative assistant, the athletic trainer, the weight coach, the academic advisor, and one other, I forget who the other person was, but there were six support system people at the athletic department that you could use. Because mine was off campus for cross country, I had to wear every hat. So I literally was, I created the award-winning media guide with my husband, Rob, that the sports information director got the award for. I helped a German athlete who had a 4-centimeter tear heal up in a month and a half. I didn't take away his scholarship. I just had an agreement from him that he would do my workouts in the pool, do what I want to do, nothing more than that, and I'd get him back, and he ended up becoming All-American and graduated. I was so happy. I mean, just this whole group of young people being able to do well was what I really cared about. But it was on $24,000 a year, you guys, for no benefits ever. I never got benefits in those 5 years.
Well, that's basically what happened with me with I was coaching in San Diego, and I had the top men's cross country team and the nation. We won the California. It was community college. Have a national meet, but they didn't offer me a full-time job, and so I had to make a decision. Okay, do I stay here making what I'm making, or do I, move back up to Oregon, where my in-laws, they were looking for my wife and I to come up there and help them with their bar business. That's how we got into doing that. But I mean, it's just the politics involved. In being a coach, it just sometimes stinks. You have to make, my passion is coaching and teaching, leading and helping young athletes. But you have to be realistic. It's expensive to live in California.
Yes.
And so I'd taken an upstart program. Tom Hunt's actually the coach there now. I took nothing program and turned it into, the best team in the nation for junior colleges.
I'm at Concordia University, and my first year that I coached there, or actually the second year that I coached there, I end up being GSAC Coach of the Year, but I'm a co-coach of the year with Russell Smelly, who's at Westmont College. And I have a newborn in my office who I'm breastfeeding while I'm coaching and having all those positions I told you about. So, so when the month after I went to Concordia, I ended up getting pregnant. And so imagine being pregnant, driving from Irvine, California on the freeway to Concordia, which is down in, driving from Brentwood down to Irvine every day for my job.
Oh, no,
For
no.
$24,000. And then 6 months into my pregnancy, we moved down to Irvine, Woodbridge area. So it was closer for me, and Rob had to do the commute to Brentwood. So, so here I am. I've got the newborn at home, C-section. We come home from the hospital 4 days later, and a week later, I'm at work after a C-section. That is crazy. So now I'm GSAC Coach of the Year. I'm co-coach of the year. And then 2 years later, I'm GSAC Coach of the Year, Region 1 and 2 Coach of the Year. And I'm taking this team to nationals, and it's a meteoric rise. They have the 3.75 GPA, and the team is doing great. And one of our athletes collapses with 200 meters to go. It takes her 2 minutes to get to the finish line. And because I was going to be National Coach of the Year, they decided to vote the night before the Nationals instead of the usual time of voting after the Nationals is over. And so they voted the night before for the Coach of the Year, the National Coach of the Year. And she ended up crossing the finish line, gutsy performance. She crossed the finish line. The National Coach of the Year was from Nebraska, Craig, I forget his last name. His team finished behind my team. He's the National Coach of the Year.
Politics.
Well, it was men. The following year, they went back to, and I had already moved away, handed the team off. The team won the national championships the following year. And the coach who I gave it to, he coached there for 3 months. They were in fantastic shape coming off the summer.
They inherited your coaching.
Yeah.
He inherited the track program. He inherited everything I did.
Yeah.
And what ultimately happened is he didn't even become National Coach of the Year. And so I know that I was actually National Coach of the Year the previous year. And, because otherwise, why wouldn't he be with a national championship team? And it was because of the what I had actually done. And so without being in the history books, I know that the team won. They're in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame in the school with them. And the process is what most mattered for me. And my priority was that the team program wouldn't die because I left with it needing more recruiting. I left it in really good hands. So I was happy. I was able to accomplish what I wanted. And it was just in an incredibly chauvinistic, competitively strange environment. This is it's a marvel for me, you guys. If I'm racing and I'm going to a finish line, I'm encouraging people around me. Let's go get to the finish line. Come on, let's go. And I'm looking at these wonderful human beings all around me, and we're going after doing our best. And this is what just unfortunately happened. If a man would see a bunch of other men racing with him, he might race with them. But if a woman's coming up, all of a sudden it's like the spotlight on, I can't let that woman beat me. It's weird. I don't get it. But it's the environment that coaching ended up being. It was like, because I was excelling and it was fun and the team was happy, the other coaches just wanted to take it over instead. So they let me do a ton of work, and then they tried to take it over. It's just, I didn't understand that.
Chauvinism and misogyny are real things.
But they were allowed to happen.
Oh yeah. And now they're being encouraged to happen. I mean, we're back in that environment.
It's the same environment again. And so it's heart-wrenching because, the beautiful thing about a human is when you put an E at the end and you're humane. That's what we all are. It's humane.
That's what we should be. That's what
we are.
Well, not everybody's humane.
We are. And so being humane is the only power we have.
Yeah.
And so not losing that because someone else is acting differently is a
Yeah.
really important thing to
Oh yeah, it's very
embrace.
important.
Yeah. So I'll just stay humane and, you know, we're really leaders next to each other, linking arms, making a better neighborhood. And so as long as humans keep doing that, I think we'll be able to overcome this oppression that's coming up quickly. Yeah. That's my hope anyway.
I've really enjoyed, and I'm sure Ron has too, getting to, we've learned a lot that I had no clue about. And
Well, you guys, I mean, Ron, I haven't talked with you since 84, right?
I don't know if
Oh,
we've ever talked.
No, Benji, you and I had never talked, but because you and I were in the print so much, I felt like I had a kindred spirit with you, hearing your interviews and things like that. It just felt like what a great group of people we have in this. Same thing with Bill. I just felt like, kind people
yeah.
who just happen to run fast.
What's really, I think we can all take solace in knowing that, and I know you, Joan, you've been very impactful to a lot of different people. I know Greg Lautenschlager, he speaks very highly of you and, what you meant to him and what he's learned from you. Benji, I know Benji likewise has helped so many people. He helps one of the kids that I'm working with today. And just thinking about when I moved up to Oregon to get into the bar business, uh, I made an impact on a lot of the kids because three of the kids that I coached when I was in San Diego, they came up and worked for us. So
Cool.
you make we can really influence a lot of people with the position and our experience that we have.
One of the things I loved about collegiate coaching is that when they come into the school, it's a totally different kind of environment because you have trust 100%, and people can only decrease the percentage of trust through their actions. And so giving someone that freedom to be trusted is an amazing feeling for a young person. And I tend to think of these freshmen coming in, and 2-year-olds have a lot of the similar strengths to them and the curses to them. They're wanting to be independent. They're coming off being purely dependent, being in the home at home. And they're going to be making decisions that could affect them. And so being able to be a mentor to create bungee cord guardrails where they can go off road a bit, but there's a little bit of protection to keep them from completely flunking out and losing the ability to have a future. And then you gradually facilitate them recognizing their strengths, them being empowered to find out where their weaker links and starting to shore up weaker links by changing them into strengths, finding out what they need to do to make a weaker link a strength. And as they did that, their strength column grew, the weaker links shrunk, their confidence went up, but they weren't cocky because these are performance tasks. And it doesn't matter whether it's academics, it doesn't matter whether it's athletics, or if it's the social network of how to create an environment that supports someone who's a commuter student or someone whose parent died in a head-on car crash. The kind of support that these young people had was everyone together next to each other, linking arms to make a better neighborhood. And they were all leaders. There was not a walk-on scholarship athlete. These were human beings next to each other, performing at their highest level, making this team a beautiful thing. And that, I think, is not any different than any of us.
No.
It's just regular life, regular work.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get praise for the fact we could run fast, but we're just humans and we try to be the best humans we can be. And running fast is just one of the side effects of us being who we
It's a
are.
bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank goodness we could do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, who would we be if we hadn't been able to run fast?
I have to share this story, you guys, because I just have to.
Okay, go for it.
When I made the cross country world championship team in Italy, I was going to be able to fly over one day early with the men's team. The women's team was going to fly out the following day after us. And the coaches screwed up with the tickets, and our coach had the other women's tickets, and the other coach had my ticket and the guys' tickets. So we had to stay in New York and wait for the women's team to get there to fly out the next day. So we went out for a workout. Now, this is Al Salazar, Herb Lindsay, Pat Porter. I forget who else is in this group. But we went out and we did a 10-mile workout. And we're out at LaGuardia and going out, not knowing where we are. And we're going out there and we're running, and we're in these flashy tights. Remember the neon colors that they had back then?
Yep,
really obnoxious colors. And so we're decked out in this colorful gear for Nike. Athletics West, most of us are Athletics West anyway. And we're running along, and we come to an intersection. And this is in a poor part of New York. The trash cans are on fire. People are warming themselves around these trash cans, and they're not happy to see us. It's an impoverished area of New York, and we're these white, flashy, gaudy looking runners. As we come to the intersection, they start chasing us. We turn the corner and we're sprinting Mod Squad style. Herb Lindsay has one elbow, Al Salazar has the other. My feet are barely touching the ground. Those guys who were running after us were sprinting, and they got to about within 5 yards of us, behind us. And we were warmed up, thank goodness. We were sprinting, and they didn't catch us. Could you imagine what the storyline would have been had they caught us?
Wouldn't have been good.
And it was, what ended up happening is it was exciting. Like we ended up laughing about it. But it was the kind of thing like, whoa, and if you, like, I don't cuss much, but whoa shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, whoa shit. Because I would have been raped, and we probably all would have been killed. They were not happy. No, they were really angry. We were in their space. We were in their face. We were not appropriate being there, and so that was that. Thank goodness for Al Salazar was sub 4-minute mile at that time, and I had good company around me, so we lived to tell the tale.
Survived.
Yes.
Guy Arbogast was probably on that team.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was. Good guy.
And Dylan, you've been on that team?
I was on the team. Yeah, so I think Guy was on the team because that's where I think I got to know him. And then I forget who. Yeah, if you say the names, I can tell you yes or no.
Dan Dillon, was he on?
I think Dan was on the team.
Yeah, he was on a lot of teams there in that time frame.
Yeah, I think he was.
Dan has been on our podcast as well.
And was Nino on the team? I'm not sure Nino was. Nino was on the USSR dual team. Oh, okay. You guys, I have to share some of these because they're really funny, but they're impactful. In 1980 with the boycott, and you all were probably affected by that.
Oh yeah.
Now come forward to 1984, and we have the Olympics, and of course the Soviet Union is now not in the Olympics. So now the USSR US duel is going to happen in Leningrad, and I made the team in 1981 to go there, and it's my first US team. And I tried to call my mom, you're at I think it was Indianapolis, and they processed us there. They wouldn't let us leave, and they were going to fly to Leningrad. So for security and for visa and everything else, we couldn't go anywhere. And so I tried to call my mom, and she wouldn't accept the charges. And I'm trying to blurt out, Mom, I made the team. I'm going, and she didn't hear any of it, right? So we end up going over to Leningrad. I'm sitting off by myself, up on the second level. I'm on the balcony. My legs are dangling. I'm looking over the side, watching the dancers down below, where the locals, the Soviets are enjoying their dinners, and our team is sequestered up above in the balcony level. And as I'm sitting over by myself watching, then this guy comes up and starts talking with me, and he's just talking away. It's no big deal. So I'm just having a nice visit with him, and he goes, I'm actually with CBS. Is there any chance we could have you come outside and interview? I go, well, sure, why not? So I went outside and Willie Banks and I interviewed with CBS, and it's the network news. So of course this is a big deal, and it's, the evening time. So it's all the, stations in America are, if they happen to have that station on, are watching it. So here my mom is in the kitchen and she hears my voice. And she goes running out, Joan, and she's looking at the TV, and there I am, and I'm in Leningrad being interviewed as a member of the United States team. And that's how she learned about me making the team. So as I'm in Leningrad, I packed a bunch of food. I had a water boiler, and every day I would open the sealed bottle, pour it in, boil the water, and it's clear. The night before our meet, I opened the bottle, pour it in, and as it's boiling, it turns black. I immediately ran to tell the coaches, I think we're being poisoned. And we ended up not drinking the water, being dehydrated and performing really crappy the next day. But my boiler indicated what was going on, and we were able to keep ourselves, I think, off the toilet. But we weren't able to do anything regarding the heat and the conditions
Yeah.
So that's my story about the USSR duel and making my first Olympic team. It's pretty funny to have my mom learn that
it
I'm
that way.
actually in the Soviet Union.
Hi, Mom. I'm in Russia.
I made the team, Mom. This is what I was trying to tell you on the collect phone call that you didn't take. Yeah. So.
Well, we're going to let you go and have a life away from us finally.
Thanks, you guys. And thank you for letting me do this with you.